Hi guys, welcome back to the second episode of the Millennial. I'm Jordan.
I'm Arina.
And today we're so grateful to be able to invite our second guest to our new series of the show. And let us all welcome Albert! So Albert is one of the founders for Makeover Guys in East Malaysia. So basically they're renowned for interior design for different projects in Malaysia. And also he's the founder of Lumen Estate Agency. And also, last but not least, Exal Development in Perth. So Albert, your personal journey when you start all this, the transition and everything, so what made you want to eventually settle down in Kuching?
I think that's a quite involved question.
Yeah.
A lot of elements. A bit of a background is I moved to Australia when I was in 1993, when I was 13 years old. And my whole family member, the whole core family are all in Australia, about 53 of us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's not an easy decision to come back, I suppose. For me, I'll attribute it to two main reasons. I'm a Christian, a believer, right?
Yes.
So that's a higher calling. That's the way I look at it. That's number one. Number two, it would be from a career point of view, because I was offered a job by Shell Malaysia before I graduated.
So that's when you're 22, I suppose, or 21?
So I moved to Australia when I was 13.
13.
And I moved back in 2004 when I was 23.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
So that's your first job, and you
Yes.
landed in Miri.
That's correct.
How long was that? Like how many years of engineering life?
To be exact, 5.5.
5.5.
Yes.
Okay. And because right now you're doing all these businesses that's related to mostly real estates. So what made you transition and change your profession?
First and foremost, I still have my engineering firm. We still do engineering consultancy for oil and gas in KL. I've got a company doing that. I suppose you can call it passion, right? Discovering that passion in real estate.
Okay. So what's the point? What's the key point? Like the first thing that actually inspired you to go into this industry?
Sure. So basically, growing up in Australia, a lot of people invest in property in Australia.
Okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, 50 or 60% of the population invest in real estate in Australia.
It's not
Yeah.
on state, it's all pure investment.
Pure investment.
That's
Reason
a
being,
lot.
it's part of a legal way to minimize taxation in Australia under the negative gearing scheme.
Okay.
The influence from family members, I started attending expos, started reading books. So the first book and the key book that got me interested was a book by Robert Kiyosaki.
Reach that for that.
Yes. But particularly for me, it was Retire Young, Retire Rich. That book, yes.
The first book.
The first book that I read, yes.
I'm curious about one thing because there's a lot of gurus that talk about the financial freedom, right? So actually, we don't really quite get it for the millennials. So what do you see about financial freedom?
Sure. Well, let's first look at financial freedom before we take one step back, right? So
yes.
Financial freedom is made out of the word freedom and finance, right? So being free, financially.
Stable,
right?
yes.
Yeah. So I'd like to take one step back, which is how I view it, how I view life is financial freedom is just one of the many elements of success. I don't want to have all the money in the world but lose my health or lose my family.
Sure.
So I believe in being holistic at how I view life. So I'll start with success, what I define as success.
Yes.
Which would be, for me, would be my faith, my family, my health, and financial, these four main factors. Now, if we talk about financial freedom, every single person, yourself, you have different definition of financial freedom. Some people define it in terms of asset. Some people define it in terms
Around the world.
Yes. Some people define it as passive income every month. Yeah.
So it's actually different targets for different people. Depends on what kind of situation you're in and what kind of end goal that you have for yourself. So I think for a lot of the gurus out there, they all focus really intense on financial freedom. But I think the holistic view is quite an important role in it, because we need to have a value. We have to have the calling in life in order to push forward, I guess.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Do you mind asking that, have you reached your financial freedom goals?
I have. So I think that's another very good question. So what happened was I set up an investment plan. Okay, when I first came out, when I was 23, I set up an investment plan. So with that, I defined what financial freedom was to me.
For the period of time.
Yeah, for in 7 years' time. So I set a 1-year goal, a 3-year goal, and a 7-year goal.
Okay.
Right, and I defined what financial freedom was back then for me.
And you achieved
And
all
I
of
achieved
them.
that, yes, when I was 30. Right. So I said
Okay.
when I was 23, and in 7 years' time, I achieved my goal. So that's one of the key elements in terms of goal setting.
Discipline.
Right? Yeah. And the discipline, right? And the passion and the perseverance. So there are a
Yes.
lot of different factors involved. So to answer your question, yes, I have, but I've set new goals every time I've achieved my financial freedom goal.
During that time when you were doing your engineering job, you were getting high pay at that time. But what made you decide to get out of your comfort zone?
Yeah. So I think I'd like to put it down to passion, right? So I started getting involved, getting interested in properties.
Yes.
Right? And so that's before I graduated. Then when I started working, I kind of put it into practice, right? The theory into
yes.
practice. I started investing. I started helping people to invest. Then I thought, okay, number one, I enjoy doing that. Number two, it pays well. And number three,
Exactly.
I thought, it gives me freedom, meaning that I'm not tied to a 9-to-5 job.
Yes. So what did you prepare before you actually quit your job?
Entering the new phase of
a new
your career.
phase.
Sure. Okay. So I would say 2 to 3 main factors I considered before I actually decided to resign.
Okay.
First and foremost, is it really something that I want to do?
Okay.
Okay, that's number one, right? Number two, is it something that is sustainable? Meaning that is it a fad or is it something that I can do it for a long time?
Yes.
And number three, can I make money from it?
Exactly. We have to, live on that.
Correct, right?
It must have a balance to it.
That's
yes.
correct. Yeah.
So what did you prepare in the sense that, because a lot of people are talking about you gotta pursue your dreams, you're gonna chase after what you like, you're gonna do what you're passionate about. But the thing is that if someone is being paid 5-figure salary every month and suddenly that person has to give up and go for something that he or she loves the most, what kind of thing that person should actually consider before doing that?
Sure. I think the most important thing is a business is a solution to a problem or a need. Okay, let's keep that in mind. Okay, the 2 questions you should ask yourself. Number one, is there a problem or a need that I can address or fulfill? Number two, do I have that solution? Am I able to provide that solution? Okay, because even if there is a need, even if there's a problem, but I don't have the know-how or I'm not good enough, you might be all right, you might know a little, but you're not able to survive in the real world with what you have.
Yes.
So one key thing that I share with my colleagues, I share with young people, is be damn good at what you do. Be at least a bit better than other people. Don't be the average, because then you'll drown in amongst the crowd. But if you're just a bit better, right, then really you'll shine above everyone else.
That's a really good advice for especially the millennial out there, because what we hold on to the value is that no matter what kind of degree you're taking, and then have to be well prepared for it, like what Albert said, is that you have to be prepared in terms of knowledge, in terms of the cash, because you have to be self-sustainable and to be responsible to your own life. A lot of the Asian parents, they want us to pursue something quite similar like doctor, lawyers, accountant, all those what we call in Chinese 铁饭碗, stable job. So what's your perspective on that? Yes.
Sure. Okay. I can only share based on my personal experience, obviously. Okay. Being a very realistic person. Okay. I always start with it's not an easy question to answer. There is no silver bullet. It's different for everyone. But the most important thing, the way I would approach this, number one is that don't look back. Always look forward. Right?
Yes.
Don't say that, oh, I did this degree, I should have, I could have, or I would have. These are the 3 things I don't say in my life, okay? Meaning that whatever that happened, right? it has happened, right? Make the most out of it. If life hands you a lemon,
Make lemon juice.
yes,
Yes.
or lemonade, right? Okay. So first and foremost is don't always look back, look forward, right? With hope. That's number one. Number two is you need to know and try to do a bit of self-reflection on what your interest is, what you are good at, what you enjoy doing, right? Even if you enjoy playing games, you can be a professional gamer and get
Exactly.
scholarships into universities, right?
Yes.
Okay. So number two would be your passion, your interest. Okay. And number three, if you don't know what your interest, what your passion is, explore.
Try it.
Yeah. Try different things, speak to different people.
I think that's the beauty of going to colleges or university is that we get to mix around with people from different walks of life, different backgrounds, and I strongly suggest people aging between 18 to 24 just speak to anyone that's different from your culture, different from your background. That's when you get to explore more. I think self-discovery is a really it's important thing.
So we heard a lot of from the successful people. They share about their successful story and their journey. But
The bright side.
The
So
bright side.
right now, I think we want to know more about the dark side. Like what's the struggles and what kind of challenges and difficulties that they face throughout their journey.
And how did they overcome it?
Yes. So Albert, what's your struggles
Hidden
Yes,
secret.
exactly.
Okay. So I remember to encapsulate that question or that point, it reminds me of the iceberg. So the iceberg, you only see the tip, right?
Yes.
The majority of the mass is below the water, so people don't see that. So I think, doesn't matter what you do, in order to achieve success, if you're an athlete, if you're a mother, if you are a business person, right? There are a lot of things that happen beneath the surface that people don't see,
Yes.
right? So for me, and I believe for a lot of entrepreneurs, it's the same thing as well, is that, it takes hours and hours, days and weeks of, hard work,
Yes.
perseverance, wandering in the desert. Sometimes you don't know what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. It takes a lot of belief. You doubt yourself from time to time, right? And I've been through, a court case where, I was, I lost ringgit 1 million. Someone cheated me, right? So I've been through court cases, right?
Okay.
So really, at the end of the day, to touch on that is, there is a research that was done on tens of thousands of students, okay? And they discovered that the single most important predictor of success is what they call grit, G-R-I-T, grit. Okay?
Grit.
Which is really a combination of passion and perseverance.
Okay.
So that's what I would put it to, right? In terms of really, at the end of the day, struggles.
It's how you overcome it.
Correct, yes. One is how do you overcome it. Number two is how do you reach your destination, really. Take struggle as a checkpoint, right?
It's like
So-
playing games.
Correct, yes. Playing games, or if you're on a road journey, for example, here to Sabah, for example, you've got different checkpoints, right?
Yes.
So take struggle as a checkpoint where you reflect and you look at what are my areas of improvement? Am I still on the right track? And really, what can I do differently? And in order to answer all those questions, you do a lot of different things. You do self-reflection, you speak to people, you read more books, you will go for training, right? So don't just blindly go and long pia, right?
Yes. Like Lu Kin
You
Ki.
have to know how to find the answers.
Correct.
So to getting what you want, do you think that having a strong mindset is really important thing?
Yeah. So I think it ties back to the last question, right, that we spoke
Yes.
about.
Yes.
Really, I spoke about grit, right, where it's a combination of passion, what you're passionate about, right, and to persevere,
Yes.
right? So if you look at all the successful people, I'm not saying I'm successful, right, I'm still learning, right, but if you look at people like Jack Ma, right, people like Colonel Sanders, right, I just did a reading into all these successful people. They've all encountered setbacks after setbacks after setbacks, right? It's not a one-hit wonder where they've got the Midas touch of gold, they'll touch and it's successful, right? So I think let's be realistic. Let's not kid ourselves, right? We need to persevere and not give up.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, Albert, do you have any advice or any slogan to the young people out there that to stay still and then keep going?
Sure.
Some
One
messages.
phrase.
One phrase.
All right. Okay. I would like to borrow from Simon Sinek's book, which is
Okay.
Know Your Why. Right. It's very important to know your why, which is what is your cause, what is the movement that you're advancing.
What's your calling?
What's your calling? Yeah. So calling is fairly high level. It's a bit abstract. But if you look at the market disruptors, you look at Asia. What's the slogan? Everyone can fly. Right.
Asia.
If you look
Okay.
at Uber, to enable anyone anywhere, right, to travel, right, either transportation or stay,
Yes.
Airbnb. So these are all part of a movement of a cause. Because if you know what your cause, your movement is, right, then you not stop until you will advance your cause or your movement. And the other thing is the profit will flow naturally.
Yes, definitely.
So that's all for today, and we're really grateful to be able to invite Albert to be on our channel today. So see you all on the next
Episode. Bye.